interested to join viewing what we're talking about today. Anyway, I think it's a good chance to wrap up what happened in the DrupalCon Dublin this year. It was pretty productive, at least in terms of what we managed to design on this initiative. So lots of things were clarified and discussed through. So we had one core conversation about this, and we had about different topics. And what we decided in Dublin was that so we are going to start two individual initiatives that are going to work together. And the other initiative that we are going to start working on is the default content initiative, because of what we figured out was that designing something on the empty canvas can be difficult. So when we have the default content, it should be easier to design something. And the default content is being built on the farmers market example. So, and what we decided was that the team will be also created for the farmers market. So we won't be creating the bluish Drupal generic theme that doesn't represent anything, but instead create something that represents the farmers market, the real use case. That's at least what we are proposing right now. Of course, this is not yet approved by the product management, and I haven't at least discussed with the product management about this idea yet. So I don't have any ideas if they have some concerns about this, or if they have any comments about this idea. But we are working on that, and hopefully soon enough we will get the stamp of approval from the product management. Roy, do you have any update on that? Do you know when is the next meeting?
No, I haven't heard yet. It comes down to finding a spot in Dries' calendar to set the time for that meeting. But the product management meeting will consist of Dries, Angie, at least one framework manager, a release manager. So any core committer that is impacted by the ideas we review will be part of the meeting, including the UX maintainers, Bojan and Roy. And I think the schedule we're aiming for is once every 3 weeks, yes, if I remember correctly. But no, that meeting has yet to be installed.
Yes, so there is no schedule for the first meeting yet.
Correct.
Okay. Then that's still a blocker for us. So another thing that we decided that we need to have before we can proceed on the finding a designer was that we added a step that we need to create a briefing for the designers, so that the designers have an idea what they are committing to, so that we have more likely success on this project, because of what we are building won't come as a surprise for the designer. And that's definitely something that we could start working on at this stage. But of course, it's very, very risky because of on many parts, this is dependent on the idea, and the idea is not approved yet. So I think we need at least some feedback from the product management. Roy, do you agree with this, or do you have any comments on this?
I agree. It's yeah. The idea was to only have an idea and not spend much time on the idea itself before moving on to doing more. So get the idea approved, or at least reviewed before doing anything else about it. We've already done quite a bit because
Yes.
this idea existed before the ideas queue was put into place. I don't know. I think maybe for now, with the audience we have in this meeting, how much of an outline for the briefing did we create actually, Lowry? Because we could, of course, take this time now and just get some initial thoughts from the people here.
Yeah, I think we didn't create much outline for the briefing at all yet. We outlined what is the contents of the briefing, like what topics should be covered inside that briefing. And so what I have written down that we thought that we want to include in the briefing was process. So we explain the process for the designer so that they will understand how we want to work with them. Explain the timeline that we have, which is currently still that we want to have the new team for 8.3, which means that we want to have the design ready, probably at least before Christmas. It doesn't have to be ready, but we should have an idea of the design before Christmas for sure. We can still work on that concurrently, but it would be good if we would have something before Christmas.
Lowry, is that to have it for an experimental team for 8.3 and stable for 8.4, or actually have a stable team in 8.3?
So that is another thing that we need to discuss, which is that, so 8.3 it would be definitely experimental. We also proposed that we are going to add experimental installation profile for Drupal core, which will be visible on the installation wizard thing, so that people could install it from there. And we would promote it as something new, and then we could get some feedback from the people. It's still yet to be defined. What is the measure of success for this? How do we measure that whether this should be the default theme of Drupal default installation profile or not? We haven't still figured out what is that measure for that. And
what are these briefing notes?
Where is what?
The briefing notes. You said you guys were working on a briefing.
So we don't have anything worked on the briefing yet. We have just outlined what we want to have on the briefing, the topics. If you just look at the issue summary and you go to the proposal roadmap, you can see that the second step on the and the first step on the page A is to create briefing. But so Mark,
didn't you say that you guys you and Roy had already started working on like a bullet list of topics for the briefing?
Yeah, so the topics are listed over there. You can see create briefing for the designers, and what is listed inside that step are topics that we have discussed so far to be included. But that's all that we have discussed so far. Yeah, so just to some of what I answered for Mark is that we don't know yet whether this is ever going to be a standard installation profile, or if this new installation profile will be installation profile of Drupal, or how is it going to work out. It's probably going to be something that we need to figure out later at the point when we are closer to, and we have achieved something.
That sounds good, because my kids want to go home, so I'll be back online in maybe 5 more minutes.
Okay.
I'm very remote working today.
Yeah. So let's discuss. Let's go back to the briefing. So the timeline would be 8.3 have experimental team, the minimum viable product that people could just try out. It wouldn't have to fully apply to all core gates, like think Angie and others have said before. So it should be easier to get something like that done than making the team actually stable. So the budget, we need to explain, of course, what is the budget on this project, which is at this stage $0, since no one is throwing money on this.
How much is that in euros?
I don't know. Not sure.
Even less.
Minus.
Pay to play, yeah.
Yeah. Then we need to introduce the team and the roles that we have inside team, so they are aware who they are will be working with, which can be useful for them, since we are also looking for similar kind of information from them. So it's nice that it's a two-way conversation. And then we also need to explain whatever constraints that we have at this stage for the design or this process. And let's say one of them could be, let's say that the product management team decides that the team has to be blue. That's a constraint, and that would limit maybe some designers out of this process, since they would have to design a blue design.
Would it be good to, just for the review, have some specific questions that we want feedback on? As in, do you agree that this theme should be specific to the sample content scenario we're using?
Yeah.
Do you then agree that it doesn't have to be, that it doesn't necessarily have to capture the Drupal brand in itself?
Yeah. I think we should write down the decisions that we've kind of made ourselves, highlight it somewhere, like so that it's very easy for them to go through. Because right now it's like multiple different initiatives and multiple different issues. So it would be great if you could create probably on the issue, just like the questions that we have for the product management, and highlight the decisions that or the things that we propose at this point for this idea. We propose that this new design doesn't brand Drupal itself, be branding a farmer's market, and therefore it will be example theme. And it would be nice to also, with few words, to explain what it means, probably. Like, probably also in technical perspective, like let's say, what I would expect them to want to know, like, let's say if we say that we are designing this farmer's market website that we don't build for the same purposes as Bartik, so we will tell that the target audience is not the people who are building sites. And they would use this theme as their default theme. We should also highlight that we won't be supporting color module because it doesn't align with the vision that we have with this theme. And probably if there's any other things that needs to be is related to this and it's caused by this, it would be nice to explain it also. But I don't want it to become like a 3 A4 pages of text. It would be nice if it would be like very compact set of things that we've decided. And I think I could take action point of that to create that list, since I have a pretty good overview of both the default content initiative and this initiative, the new core design, because I've been in every meeting. So I could probably read all the meeting notes and sum up the key points that we are proposing at this point. And it will most likely help the product management when they are deciding on this.
Yep.
That's a good suggestion, Roy. So about the briefing, is there any other things that we should include on the briefing? So I don't know if we have any designers on this call, but at least if you have also worked with designers, is there something else that you would like to include on the briefing? I guess so about the briefing, the most important thing at that point is that we could get as many designers involved as possible. And so the briefing should be something that doesn't scare the designers out, but should be also realistic so that we don't lie for people, because otherwise we will lose them later on because they've lied for the designers. So is there any ideas like of things that we should include in the briefing that would lower the barrier for designers to enter to this? So obviously, the one thing that we need to have there is to make sure that they understand what are they committing to and what will they get. And the important thing also on the briefing is that we explain probably that the timeline / what is the plan for the team, so they can trust that their design will be used for something useful and it won't be just thrown away. That's definitely one important thing for the designer. I think so.
I mean, you might want to have something in there about what the deliverables are.
Yeah, that's also a good point. We have already actually planned quite a few things on the proposal roadmap. Want to achieve at which point, and we have also marked at which point we want the designer to be involved. And so what we have thought to be a good idea was that the designer would be after creating the initial design, when we are creating the fully fledged detailed design, would be more in art director role instead of being the person who does all the work, which would lower the barrier for someone to enter this, because they could just do the design and then work as an art director role when other people could catch up with the work. We probably should, on the briefing, we should have in a few sentences the explanation of the process and what is expected from them at which stage of the process. So, because the roadmap right now, what it looks like under the org, it's quite confusing. So it might be better to just in few sentences. Yeah. Any other ideas that we should include on the briefing? No other ideas for the briefing?
Nope.
Yeah, I think that's already pretty expensive briefing we have. I'm reading. So after that, we have after we have created the briefing, we can send the initial motivation and portfolio, the request for the motivation and portfolio from the designers, and that is kind of a blocking stage. So I would like to discuss if we could make the period a little bit shorter, because it's 1 month period that we have right now for the proposal. So I would like to use the 2 weeks that we have used elsewhere. And then we can extend it in case we don't find a good designer. Would that work for everyone? Or do you have any doubts about that?
Given the short deadline, I think that's probably best.
Yeah, because if we make the time if we make the time very long, like 1 month, it takes a lot of time for other things to happen. Especially because it's a blocking pace, we can't really work on anything else at that stage.
David, did your designers say that they were willing to do the design?
What did you say? Someone was talking at the same time.
Sorry, that was me. I think David mentioned on Slack before that their agency was willing to sponsor a designer, could maybe do the design as well.
Yeah, I think we might be a candidate. I'm optimistic but non-committal.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, that's good news. I think it would be good to get some ideas on where and how to advertise this glamorous job. Because posting it in the issue queue is not where it will be found, right? I mean,
yeah.
It will be by people in the queue who have colleagues who could, etc. But yeah, we have to probably spread it a bit wider.
We should also settle on actually outlining some of those benefits that we had talked about at that other meeting. Like whether or not we would actually, like, can we create a sort of case study page for the design when someone works on it to help, publicize who the designer is, things like that. We might need like official approval from the DA to do something like that on Drupal.org, things like that. The creative, if the designer gets credit for it, is it like, are we going to add that to the README in the theme, things like that.
Yeah.
We should take whatever good ideas we have and actually sort of write them down so that the designers know that before they get started.
Yeah, maybe the DA can actually provide some perks, right? A listing boost or whatever.
Yeah.
I have to check out and attend to another meeting, guys.
Yeah, so that's a very valid point that we won't find a designer from the HTTP at least very easily because our community is not very designer agnostic. So we will have to reach out to the designers outside. And I think one of the things we can do is just use Twitter, because Twitter, if we can get retweets or something like that, we could reach unlimited amount of people. So that's definitely one marketing channel for this.
Yeah.
And let's say, I don't expect this to happen, but let's say if Trees would tweet that Drupal is looking for someone to design a new team for Drupal, I would expect that people would come in. But again, I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Again, if we have the usability maintainers and team system maintainers and current team maintainers tweeting about that, I think it's already quite a lot and should convince people that this is cool people working on something.
All right. Thanks for your time, folks. I have to check out.
Yeah. So
Zero.
At this point, Roy, you can take off if you want.
Yeah.
I just want to give some time if any of the other folks on the meeting has any questions about what happened during DrupalCon or about the issue summary. Because I have some time.
Yeah, I don't have questions, but I was sorry I didn't get to the meeting. I had a buff at the same time that I was giving, or else my own presentation or something like that. But it looks like it's coming on very well. Congratulations, and
yeah,
good to see everyone working.
Thanks for the support.
And thanks for it, actually. More than congratulations, yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions at this point? Concerns, maybe? Okay, if you don't have any questions or anything, I think because we are pretty much blocked on getting approval from the product management, we can call it a night. At least for me, it's 2 p.m. So thanks everyone for coming this week. Next time will be in 2 weeks, and let's see if we have approval from the product management. There is at least some action points from this meeting for me that I can work on during the next 2 weeks, but there is not that much of work that could be done during the next 2 weeks, I think. So thanks, everyone, and see you in 2 weeks.
Take care.
Bye.
Cool. Cheers.
Thanks, Larry. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.